you a warm welcome to the bar. We hope that you enjoy yourself today. It promises to be very interesting as we tell you a lot of things. There are a lot of stories here and there, very interesting ones actually that we're going to be breaking down today. From politics in Nigeria to politics abroad. There's also going to be updates from a few things that we had spoken about yesterday. There's also going to be sports stories, entertainment stories right here on the Boom Bar today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we get right into today's show.
That's what it is. Let's go.
Now, today is very interesting. As we're going to start this show with I think that I'm not sure that we had seen this kind of it after the election season. Yeah, we're talking, even right at the bar, we're talking a lot about the legal season where we're officially in. We saw a lot of petitions back and forth, but I'm not sure we had seen one like this one that we're about to talk about, where a particular lawyer has now filed a fresh motion on notice seeking to stop Bola Tinubu's inauguration on May 29th at the Court of Appeal. Now, this is a presidential. This is the 2019 presidential candidate.
Repeat, 2019. We are in
2023
for
yes
context.
He is supposed to be a constitutional lawyer and the 2019 presidential candidate of Hope Democratic Party, Chief Ambrose Albert Owuru. Is okay. Now he who is praying the Court of Appeal to prohibit the Attorney General, President Muhammadu Buhari, and the Independent National Electoral Commission. First thing, INEC does not inaugurate anybody. I just want to put it out there. But from inaugurating the 2023 president-elect on May 29th, he's saying basically, on grounds that he's constitutionally okay, a judge winner of the 2019 election and has not spent his tenure as required by law. He's saying that President Buhari, honestly, I did not see this coming. I really, really honestly thought that this was like...
You just saying it now?
No, I read a bit, but I'm not even sure I paid so much attention to it. But even when I read it, I kind of got the idea. I'm just saying that when I saw the headline at first, yeah, I did not think, I was expecting something else that maybe INEC mistakenly or INEC did not conduct the elections properly or something. Now, he's actually accusing President Buhari of usurping his tenure of office since 2019 because the Supreme Court has not determined his petition filed in 2019 in which he challenged the purported declaration of President Buhari as election winner.
Yeah, so this case is something that started in 2019.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the 2023 elections whatsoever.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was what I thought it was when I first saw the headline, and I'm like, okay.
So it has nothing to do with the 2023 elections. What it has to do completely with is the 2019 elections, which President Muhammadu Buhari was said to have won, and he's still serving that tenure. Now, the man in question, the lawyer in question, called to the bar sometime in 1983 or so. He says that he won, and that, of course, his case is still pending in the Supreme Court. Now, this might have some kind of far-reaching consequences on the court cases that we're actually embarking on for 2023. And the reason why I'm saying that is that from the look of things, nothing happened in the courts. And in history, nothing has happened in the courts. So from whatever time people are. I remember vividly 4 years ago when Atiku went to court against Buhari and everything, talking about
But
servers
that
and all.
was that happened. Something happened in the courts because there were judgments for that. So now,
Okay, so
my issue is why did
nothing
the courts
happened in
stop?
courts. Nothing happened in the courts, and that's why Buhari has seen out a whole 4-year tenure. That's what I mean. I was about to say it before you cut me off, but it's fine. It's part of the bar. So nothing happened. Like, the man basically went to court, did everything he could, but Buhari is still president. So it might have far-reaching consequences on cases that are going to court. In my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, but of course we are allowed to speculate and analyze these things. So would it be that a sitting president, after being sworn in, would be asked to step aside or leave for the first time? Do you understand? And this particular court case has absolutely nothing to do with Bola Tinubu, but he is the target of this court case. Now, history has taught us one thing, and don't ever say that any case is frivolous or funny. The case that stopped MKO Abiola from becoming president, started like this, started like a joke, started like some funny thing, and of course, with the benefit of hindsight, it was obviously orchestrated, by the powers that be. But whatever happened, and they said because of a court case, they couldn't continue releasing results and all of that, and we all know what happened to June 12th. So this is a case that also, I know that regardless of the funny status of it, because Mr. Owuru or Barrister Owuru, I don't know which title he goes by, is actually claiming, that he won an election. And based on the results that we have all seen, his name is not even in the top 10.
According to him now, he's saying that not necessarily that he won. Yeah, his original court case that he won. But now he's saying that the case has still not been determined by the Supreme Court, which is where, at this point, my own opinion is that I don't even think I fault him. I think I fault the Supreme Court. Why do I say that? Is remember when just a few minutes ago you brought about the case of the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. We're all here, we all followed it up until Supreme Court and how the case was thrown out and all that. Why didn't the Supreme Court, the appeal court, the tribunal, or let me say now he's indicting the Supreme Court. Why is it that the Supreme Court did not give that case that
priority?
That same priority? Because they are all presidential candidates. Take it or leave it. If you say AA or PDP or the Labour Party or NPP, they're all presidential candidates. The only thing that differentiates everybody now is that somebody won. There's a president-elect and the rest of them are candidates. No matter the amount of votes, the person that got 10,000 votes and the person that got 6.9 million votes, you are all presidential candidates. Let's call it spade a spade. So how come in 2019, Atiku Abubakar got priority at the Supreme Court, and him being Barrister Owuru never got a judgment since 2019? They say that justice delayed is justice denied. Yeah. I think on this one, the Supreme Court is completely and totally wrong.
I like the angle that you have come from, and the truth is, at times you wonder why some of these legal cases or battles take so long. Mm-hmm. You're thinking like, now, like,
especially
what are you trying to establish?
Even his own shouldn't even take that long. Really, let's be honest. His own even should not have even taken that long.
Mm-hmm. So
what are we doing? Like, I don't understand what exactly happened.
So, but the angle that I am coming from is that, honestly, like I said earlier, I don't think it's funny because court cases can be, but I think it's laughable that it was almost as if I'd never heard of his party until this afternoon. I know I heard about this court case before, but it just didn't resonate with me. Hope Democratic Party. That's the name of the party that claims to have won the 2019 elections in Nigeria. If you look at the top 10 results that INEC presented,
Hope
Democratic
whether
Party
hope or not
does not even exist.
The fact that he was a presidential
10.
candidate.
That's not it. I'm saying that for a fact, like maybe even a show already had some thousands of votes, or the other guy that his party looked like PDP at some point in time.
Okay, so according to the votes from the 2019 presidential elections, Mr. Albert Owuru Ambrose, if I am correct with his name, and with Hope Democratic Party got a total of 1,663 votes.
Okay, so how did he win the Nigerian elections?
See, like I said, and the person that got 1,600 votes, and Atiku Abubakar that got 11,262,978 votes, they're both not president of Nigeria. They're both candidates. So I think that is unfair on him, really. But my grouse with that is on his own part is that why wait this long? So because President Buhari's second term is about to end.
It didn't wait this long. In 2019, there's a story of how they claim that the tribunal actually declared Hope Democratic Party the winner of the elections. In the same 2019, 20th December, there's a story in PM News where the party is seeking a 800 billion naira claim from President Buhari. They filed a suit against him,
Sorry, you're off mic.
Yeah, no, I can actually hear myself well. They filed a suit against him where they're claiming that he's going to pay 800 billion naira to them.
That's what I'm wondering, like, what is this 800 billion for?
Then in 2020,
please, you don't answer my question. What's that 800 billion for?
Okay, so I'm trying to get everything to come to light. So again, at times you don't want to take this paper seriously. So Hope Democratic Party and its presidential candidate say that they filed a suit against the federal government demanding 800 billion for alleged violation of rights. In the suit, they filed a suit at ECOWAS court, not even Nigeria, at the ECOWAS court.
Okay.
The court is being asked to remedy the dismissal of the party's case by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Their case was dismissed by the Supreme Court. They now went to ECOWAS court. They're asking the ECOWAS court,
so
to upturn the Supreme Court decision.
That the ECOWAS court never did anything about it.
The Apex court dismissed the applicant's appeal on technical ground. It ruled that the appeal was filed 6 days outside the 60 days mandated by the Constitution to hear presidential election appeals. The parties.
So there was actually a Supreme Court judgment.
Yeah, telling them that they don't even have a case. Now, the parties are seeking a declaration that the defendants orchestrated the October 20th date for the applicant's appeal, which is outside the 60 days to hear appeal that arose from the tribunal judgment of August 22. They're also seeking a declaration that the failure and refusal of the defendants to institute, establish and promote an independent court system to ensure and guarantee the protection of applicants' right to justice and equity resulted in the alleged violation of their rights. So, as at the time the story was filed, no date had been fixed, One of his counsels, Chukwuma Njoku, told newsmen in Abuja at that time that they went to the ECOWAS court to seek redress. And we're seeking the payment of 800 billion as damages for the violation of the applicant's fundamental human rights throughout the period of the case in Nigerian courts. I'm sorry, these people can sue anybody, so I can't really talk because at this rate, you can't be sued. are you asking for 800 billion naira for filing your case outside the catchment period? Their 2019 case, they insisted, through their first witness, Yusuf Ibrahim, at the presidential election petition in Abuja, that a referendum held, I remember this story now, that a referendum held on February 16th showed that its presidential candidate, Albert Owuru, won and emerged as Nigeria's president. A referendum did you know about this referendum in 2019?
No.
Okay. So they're saying that there was a referendum that was held and they won. Their man won, and for this reason, he is the president of Nigeria. They tendered documents where some copies of newspapers, a document titled Citizen Observer Referendum Election Right Protection of Nigeria, and INEC final list of presidential candidates. The respondents said that they would be calling any witness to defend the case and urged the tribunal to... oh my God. Well, in its ruling, Justice Garba adjourned the matter to the 5th of August of that year, for the adoption of written addresses. Look, this is a violation of the court process. This is a violation of the court process. If you're going to court, a presidential election tribunal, to say that you won not the election, but a referendum that was held. Referendum is not in our constitution. And the process of picking a Nigerian president does not go through such referendums. It's just like all these exit polls and all the polls that they were doing before this year's election, before February 25th. There were all sorts of winners. In some of those things, Atiku won. Yeah. In some, Peter Obi won. In some, Tinubu won. I didn't see the one that anybody else won out of those three.
There was one that Kwakanso won.
So, if that is the case, they can also take all those exit polls and all those results and now go to the presidential This is turning out to be a joke.
See, yeah.
And the funny thing is, you are now saying that someone who has contested a different election should not be inaugurated.
Yeah, because President Buhari is using his term as...
And then he should sue the Buhari now.
President Buhari and sue federal government.
You see, look, there's a reason why we should be careful when we follow all these people and all these their headlines and stuff.
I think
their case was actually adjudged to be, on a technicality, not to be
so
sound.
They didn't even file it properly in the first place. So
I keep saying,
as though
you didn't even come 10th. A man that had 1,500 and something
600,
votes.
600. That's a lot of votes.
If I had contested,
how many votes have you got? You have never contested. So
I
you
had
never
contested.
Know. You have never contested.
I swear.
You have
just
never
the votes
contested.
in my area.
You have never contested.
So
you never know.
5,000.
You have never.
I don't
contested.
want to exaggerate and talk about other areas.
You have never contested, so you don't know.
Honestly, people should stop all these attention-seeking headlines and attention-grabbing motions. Now, this story is all over. It's everywhere. Everybody's made it their headline. We've made it ours too, because it's our job too. But we also need to look at the finer details, which is what we're doing at the bar now. How did you even claim to have won an election that you got barely 1,500 votes? These guys, they just know how to trivialize important things.
I honestly think that...
the other people who have court cases should be allowed to just focus on their court cases.
I think some of these court cases are really just...
And push them to the extreme.
Like you said, as much as at times is abuse of court processes, I also feel that whatever it is that the courts can do to move on with some of these cases quickly so that we don't come back to these things. At the moment, the appeal court has not even set a date to hear this case. But if they can, I would suggest that they do quickly and let's just move on. There are more important things to be done. Quickly, before we leave the angle of President-elect, now an AU, the AU ambassador has now come out to make a statement concerning his Guinean passport, talking about bottom line. He's saying that the president of Guinea had granted President-elect Bola Tinubu at some point a special envoy status. That is why he owns a Guinean passport. Is that right?
Yeah, Guinean.
Yeah, a Guinean passport, basically.
Yeah. Ambassador Yara is the man that was pictured in the video. I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but we can describe it to you. There's a video that had Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Ambassador Yara, and Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
Funny enough, that video is really old because at that point,
it wasn't even governor of Lagos
Sanwo-Olu
yet.
was not even governor yet.
So according to Ambassador Yara, the man in the eye of the storm and in the video, then President Conde had come to Nigeria. You know, I think he was soliciting for support and everything before his elections, and that Bola Tinubu had hosted him, you know, and introduced him to a couple of business people and all of that in Nigeria. Then Conde won the elections and invited him for their anniversary, maybe their independence anniversary. And according to this Ambassador Yara, he said that President Conde of Guinea, the then president, would move the celebrations from region to region. So instead of everything happening in, like if it was Nigeria now, everything happening in Abuja, they would move it from. I said, what a beautiful concept, yeah. So he said they were going to a place I think called Mara or something, and that's why from the capital, Conakry, right? They had to fly in a chopper to meet up with President Conde. That's the chopper that everybody was referring to, and that's what he's explaining because he was the one in the video. Then he said that Bola Tinubu did not go alone. That apart from Sanwo-Olu, he came to Guinea with Nigerian businessmen and some eggheads and all of that, and that he was there for a meeting for one day. Then he went to London, but he left his team behind to meet with them and look at business opportunities and how they could help Guinea fashion out a master plan, you know, towards, you know, building up their economy and other things. And for that, it was awarded the
special envoy status
and everything. So that's the explanation from the Guinean side. Even the president himself, Conde, has spoken, and he's even saying that if the president-elect, Bola Tinubu, requires any form of support from him, that he would be willing to offer it because he remembers what he did for him and for Guinea. Now that is in answer to all the allegations that have been raised about Guinea and the chopper and all sorts of forensic analysis that has gone on, especially on Twitter.
Yeah, I think that it's important that as much as people, I think people deserve some of this explanations, even though you see that some of these things, the original reasons for these things are kind of mischievous. But when these things pop up for whatever intention or whatever reason it was brought about, for whoever brought it out, it's a conversation that probably needs explanation to a number of people. And if there's a rational explanation to it, then please, even though, I would like to put out that there's some things that we need to, I think that we're at a point where we need to move on. When it comes to Nigeria's presidency at the moment, be it President Buhari or President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, more on President-elect, the President-elect, I think at this point, we're at a point where only the courts can make a different claim. Anything else right now, let's be honest with ourselves, anything else that pops up right now, I'm not sure it's going to change anything except the courts.
Some people are pointing out that, well, it's not necessarily about if he's entitled to dual citizenship or not. If that even makes him a dual citizen is another case entirely.
Conversation.
Yeah. But what they're saying is, what about the moral grounds and if he had perjured himself by filling his form, and in the section where, because this form now has been splattered all around, there's a journalist who's taking it and put it on a website where people can go look at the INEC form that he filled, and they're saying, why didn't he indicate it in that form? And shouldn't that be enough grounds for him to not be sworn in as president? That you should have mentioned that he had
special envoy status
or dual citizenship.
Yeah,
they are still referring to it as
dual citizenship. I'm not sure that I will still go back to what I said, and why I said so is because maybe it's time for these people to go to court about it. But the honest truth is, let's break it down. Other than the courts, is it enough reason to go to court for? Maybe it is. Maybe taking this form to the courts is enough evidence. But I will still go back to the fact that at this point, whether you have a case about that or not, it is only the courts that is going to say it is so or is going to say otherwise. Nothing else is going to change. So instead of going to the court of public opinion or court of social media, that is not going to do anything for us. Let's be honest with ourselves. Those things have not done anything, and they will still not do. At least not in a case like when it comes to presidency. I think it's only the courts that can explain those things and can sack anybody at this point, according to the laws of the land. So I think going to a website or doing stuff on social media, I think is a lot of time wasting.
Yeah, a high-profile Nigerian government official, elected government official, former Senate President of Nigeria, former two-time governor of Kwara State, was in a pickle of sorts at some point in time where people were referring to his dual citizenship status and all of that. Yeah?
Sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
Mr. Adebayo Oluwake says, watching live from Toronto, Bumba, as usual. Shola and Doluko, thanks for throwing much light on the news behind the news. Thank you very, very much, sir.
You're just amazing, Mr. Oluwake. Thank you very much. God bless you. You see, we're in Toronto. You people are just, not. You're
sleeping on it.
You see,
You're
Toronto.
sleeping on it.
I'm sorry, Toronto. Yeah, thank you. So, in Bukola Saraki's case, he said that holding the citizenship of another country does not preclude, disqualify, or nullify a person from having, acquiring, or retaining Nigerian citizenship by birth.
When was
this
this
is
said?
Even more prevalent where such citizenship has been acquired by birth. Furthermore, there is no requirement for dual citizenship of Nigeria by birth and another country to renounce either citizenship. This is Saraki, basically defending himself because, there was a time when there was a lot of noise about him being, I think he has a British passport and all of that. And this was 2015.
I'm not even sure
this was
that
2015.
If I remember correctly. I'm not a lawyer, but I think I read something about it, and I think that what really is in the Constitution, correct me if I'm wrong, is that when it comes to citizenship and all that, you have to be born in Nigeria for you to hold a public office.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure there's really a lot about dual citizenship.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something that the 10th Assembly needs to look into.
Yeah,
there are a lot of things that we talk about when we say that I personally believe there are a lot of vague bloodlines in our constitution, and some things have to be spelled out
clearly,
way more clearly than it is.
Yeah, one of the things that needs spelling out for a lot of people is the constitutional requirement about 24 states and
and the federal
capital.
that is
it's something that I honestly didn't know it was going to generate so much.
But there's always a first time, because you know the funny thing, the truth is, it never really, looking back, it was never an issue, because every president, even as much as it became almost a thing that whoever is declared president almost never wins the federal capital, but nobody has ever failed to get 25% in the federal capital. So it wasn't kind of like an issue. But there's always a first time for everything.
Yeah.
Which obviously, and I'm shout out to Olisa Agbakowa. I remember that when we talked about this at the bar a few months ago, it was when he actually brought it out. He actually spoke about it, and this was way before the elections. And you would almost say that, did he see it coming?
Or did he deliberately, fly a kite?
Maybe. But this was way, way before the elections even started. So, but he brought it out, which now it is a conversation where everybody is talking about it. Is a fact. Is one of the petitions of I think one or two. I'm not sure, but at least one presidential candidate in court. So yes, I think that a lot of things need to be stated. I remember that the issue of I think it was when there was talks about if former President Goodluck Jonathan was going to contest, or if he was ever going to recontest. And I think it was the 8th Assembly were only forced to find out that there is actually a law that has now been stated. Mm-hmm. There's an amendment in the Constitution that states clearly that you can't do more than 8 years. So if you complete someone else's tenure, you cannot do more than one more term, which I think is fantastic. Maybe it was a bloodline before, obviously it was, but then there came an amendment that stated it out in plain English.
One of the things that needs to be done, and we won't stop advocating for it, is how we can bring governance into academics, into school.
Yeah. It shouldn't be just government students that are reading these things.
It has to be if you're making English compulsory and you're making mathematics compulsory. Our
constitution should be at least.
The Nigerian constitution, should actually be a subject.
Once you get to secondary school,
you must learn.
JSS 1 to SS. 6 years is a long time.
It down.
6 years is a long time to learn the constitution.
Honestly, it's important.
I think
we're
so
at the point where people need to understand, because constitutionally there are things that people do not get, and it's not their fault.
It's not their fault. They don't know.
The information is not there in their face, but if you put it in everybody's faces,
I think it's something that the coming administration needs to look into. The Ministry of Education. We know that history is back. Maybe it should even be part of history.
No, it shouldn't. It has to be
a standalone thing.
They're not even related.
In 6 years, I think 6 years for a secondary school is a long time to be able to learn the Constitution and its amendments from cover to cover.
I have an idea that if I was talking to someone in government now, I'm sure I would make a lot of money. Like they say, it's Boom Radio's idea. Let them carry it out. But I love Nigeria so much that I'm going to put it out there. We need to start, breaking down the Constitution to a point where we're making movies about it.
Yeah.
We're making cartoon characters that can actually break down the Constitution. We're recording the audio versions of the Constitution in all the Nigerian languages, translating it, then we're releasing different, snippets of it. The way they're scrolling things on TV, let it just be everywhere, so that, you see, in 2 to 3 years' time, you would have a more informed electorate.
Yeah.
You would have a more informed followership and a more informed country, where people know for a fact that based on the Constitution, the governor doesn't even have a right to sack certain people.
In fact, I would have even said I would almost say that it's almost like a conscious effort for people not to know.
Yeah.
It's beginning to look like it. Like, so, because the more ignorant people are, the more people will not ask for their rights, and they will not. That's what I feel. I think that, so for the government to change this narrative, I think people actually need to be taught. And the easiest way you can teach people, even the older ones, is by teaching the younger ones. You'll be shocked the amount of times even the older people will know, if they have children that are learning these things on a daily basis. You will be shocked when we get homework from this. Even the older ones literally would learn. So I think that it's high time we need to start educating ourselves, educating the young people on Nigeria's laws. Now let's move on quickly from that, and let's move on to an update of what we had talked about yesterday about Nigeria evacuating Nigerians trapped in Sudan. There's a joint statement from a director in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and a permanent secretary of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, talking about how they're trying to move Nigerians out. They put embassy phone numbers out already. I don't know if we should be able to put that out, yeah?
You should.
Now they put out 5 phone numbers that the embassy officials that will be able to pick those numbers every single time. It is +23480 3586 6773 +249961 956284 +23480 63636862 +249961 956272 and +23490 66663493. And they're talking about how these people, these numbers are numbers that people in Sudan can get. Talking about a lot of how they have buses on standby now to move people, that they've acquired a number of buses to move people to Egypt, where then people can easily be airlifted. I think that is a welcome idea, and I know that we had talked about this before we got that Nigeria is in a very precarious state.
Oh yes, we are. We're closely
because
linked
we're
to
really
Sudan.
really linked to Sudan. So it's compared to a lot of other countries moving out people in 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. I think it's just very different from Nigeria, and there are a lot of Sudanese that are very linked to Nigeria. There are a lot of Nigerians that are linked to Sudan. So it's Nigeria has a lot more at stake here.
Yes, we do. And yesterday, one of the warring factions that actually agreed, to escort and protect the Nigerian students. They even tweeted it from their official handle, the RSF. There's a picture and there are videos of their men who are like around, a bus that was one of the buses that they were going to use to convey people from Khartoum, to the border, and onward to Cairo, Egypt. So please spread the word. That's what we're doing, spread the word. And again, there's also the problem of phone lines being caught, internet services being shut down.
Yeah.
A lot of things are going wrong in Sudan at the moment.
Yeah, the federal government also has told people in Sudan that they need to, it's very unsafe to move to borders without protection. People need to stay together at this
Indoors,
point. Wait for
and lie low.
Yeah, wait for the embassy to actually get how you're going to move safely. I think that it's a very dangerous time at this point, but I hope that the government is doing all they can to move people out, and most especially we hope that at some point in the nearest future a lot of what's the word now, peace actually gets back to Sudan, because that's really the bottom line. It's not just about, even after you move people out, there's still people that are there who have nowhere else to go. So I think that that's basically the bottom line. The world is still dealing with the major issues that is still going on with Ukraine. As much as it's a Ukraine-Russia thing, the world is still
Someone said
having
something.
so much. Now there's Sudan. There's so much.
Someone
There's
said
so
something,
much.
and I kind of like could relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
That why isn't the world, tweeting, peace in Sudan?
Yeah.
Why aren't people,
Where all
stepping
the
up?
humanitarian?
Why is it not the same energy?
Yeah, even
like last year.
even just AU alone,
Yeah.
it doesn't even look like they're even giving it as much concern.
Yeah, you don't want it to really escalate to a full-blown war before you now start, agitating or advocating.
Yeah.
I think there's still things that could be done now. For instance, if we can get one or two of the strong men in Africa to actually reach out to these warring factions and say, guys, don't do this anymore. You've gone enough. You've done enough. Now let's sit down and talk. At least for the sake of the innocent people in Sudan who don't want a part of this impending war.
Yeah, and now let's move on from that, and let's move on to Nigerian Governors Forum. Now, the Nigerian Governors Forum is set to hold the 5th valedictory meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, April 26th. Now, they're saying that they've issued an invitation to all 36 governors. They noted that this is basically saying that about 17 governors that will be leaving the forum after completing their terms in office, and newly elected governors will be inducted May 14th and May 17th. But do you get inducted before you actually become governor? Just a honest opinion.
Well, I don't think it should even happen.
Do you get? I'm like,
I don't think it's proper. But
shouldn't you become governor before you get?
Just imagine if they are done it in Bayelsa at that time. And the man didn't eventually become president the next day.
Young governor, yeah.
I mean, governor.
It's very, very, very interesting. That I think
you
that
people are jumping the gun. Because I don't know, what's the rush with inducting people who have not been sworn in as governors?
Exactly.
Are you sure that's what they are saying? Cause
yes, that newly elected people will be inducted between May 14th and May 17th. This is according to Voice of Nigeria's report.
Congratulations on your induction.
Also, they're saying that this is when there will also be the contest for the chairman of forum. Remember that there was
it used to be hotly contested one time.
Yeah, remember it was I think the last time was Governor Fayemi, but Governor Fayemi had left, and then the deputy chairman became chairman. Now there's talks of a new chairman, which it has always been. It probably will still.
Are you sure it won't be Akere Dolu or someone? Because I think it's been playing that pivotal role at some point in time.
Are you serious? Do we think that they're going to give another Southwestern in such a very short period of time?
Do they zone those things too?
I think they do. I actually remember that there was a lot of noise when Governor Fayemi became the chairman of the Governors Forum, talking about how the Southwest has not gotten it since this and that. I know there was a lot of noise about it, but we definitely, what in this point is not zoned. We definitely will see how that is also going to go on board. Obviously, we know that first-time governors are not allowed to contest.
Yeah. So if that's the case, well, there are a couple of governors who are returning.
Oh, there are a lot of them that are returning, at least.
And if he has to go to the north, there are a couple of them too. I know Fintiri is returning. He's in Adamawa. Zulum is in Borno.
Yeah.
So if he's going to the north, these are ranking governors, if you can use the same.
But do they also, does the idea of ruling party and highest number of like what you have in the Senate and House of Representatives and the House of Assemblies, so when you have what's it called, the majority and minority, do those things also come into play? Because I think they do.
So on their website, the Nigerian Governors Forum.org, Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar was the chairman from 2015 to 2019. He was there for 4 years. Right Honorable Chibuke Rotimi Amechi was the chairman of the Governors Forum from 2011 to 2015. That's another 4 years. Then, but there was a space in between. Dr. Abubakar Olubukola Saraki, he was there from 2007 to 2011. That means he
did 2 times.
Yeah, Then of course before him there was Lucky Nosare.
Now that picks up something. But okay, finish.
Lucky Nosare Igbinedion. No, that's 4 years now. 07 to 11.
Oh, just 4 years. Okay, yeah.
I mean, that's 4 years.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
So Nosare Igbinedion was 2006 to 2007. 1 year.
What happened?
Then before him there was Obong Victor Basiata, chairman from 2004 to 2006.
Okay.
Now, Alhaji Abdullahi Adamu was there from 1999 to 2004.
Okay,
so
now
between
I get
2004
the point of why there was the noise about the Southwest.
There's never been any until
now
him.
I get the point. Now I get the noise about
if
it.
if there's going to be a rotation of these roles, they might also
It's probably going back to the north.
They might also need to consider the southeast, because I've seen 2 names from the south here.
But there's never been one from
I've
the
not seen a single governor from the southeast.
Now the issue with the southeast now is that how many of them, as we call it, are ranking governors?
Well, Uzodimma is still serving.
That is if. Okay, as at the time they do this, he's still
serving.
But at that point, he's still a first-time governor.
But he is still serving.
That's what I'm saying. You don't understand.
I know
the
second.
Yeah. So what they're saying,
I'm sure they came up with that thing after.
Yes. What they're saying is that you have to be a returning governor.
In the
east, there is.
It's only Uzodimma that will be, because Soludo is the first time. Governor.
That's what I'm saying. So it probably applies to everybody in the east.
And so that's what I'm saying. That
so
if Uzodimma cannot get it in the Governors Forum chairmanship, then.
Because everybody else is different.
There's no hope for anybody else in the south.
Even him at that point, and still in May, is still a first-time governor.
Because if they were not going to do the rotation thing, there's a Seyi Makinde that is returning.
Yes, there's a Seyi Makinde.
There's a Sanwo-Olu that is returning.
There's Governor Akeredolu.
There's Akeredolu, who is actually the most senior at the moment, because his own.
Yeah. The rest are just going to begin their second term.
Yeah.
He's been there.
He's almost.
There are a lot of people that are actually.
That's why his name was the first on my.
Yes, now I get it. Some people are even going to be finishing their second term if we go to the north, like someone like Governor Yahaya Bello, who's probably at the point where they're doing this inauguration, probably the most senior of all governors, but he will be ending his tenure. So I'm not sure that would come up. That would just be a few months to him ending his tenure, but definitely that's also another highly contested position. Everybody wants a position, and
so
we'll see. We'll come up. We'll see how that goes. I'm talking about Governor Hope Uzodimma. Now PDP and APGA rep members, I think 2 PDP members, House of Representatives members, and 1 APGA rep member in Imo State have now defected to the APC. Now, why is this worth talking about? We know that Governor Hope Uzodimma is seeking re-election is one of the states that have staggered elections, and the elections is in November, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So, would we call that a boost in his re-election bid?
Of course, that's obviously a boost. Even if it was just a group of 5 or 10 people that said they were, moving from their party to his party, it's a boost. The fact that he's had a very strong showing at recent elections shows that his stock, his electoral stock or his political clout has really grown up in Imo State. There's a lot of people who feel like, look, they're just waiting for these elections to kick him out and make sure that he doesn't return as a governor. but the results of recent elections says otherwise. You know, in the House of Assembly alone, it was like a landslide for him and his party, the APC, in Imo. If you take a look at the other elective posts that were up for grabs, it was more or less him still, coasting home and everything. So from the look of things, having people who would cross carpet to his side, that's huge.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking at what's the word now? Elections, basically all around in Imo State. We know that for a fact, for the presidential elections, the Labour Party won the presidential election in Imo State. So would we be able to say that the Labour Party has a very strong standing?
Oh yes, they do.
In Imo State.
Oh yes, they do.
According to the results, the returning officer there, Peter Obi had polled 352,904 votes, where the APC had polled 66,171 votes. That's the next. That's a huge margin.
It is. But again, if you now take a look at the results from the House of Assembly that happened weeks after, then you will now understand why someone like Uzodimma is very hopeful.
Okay. Now, I kind of get what you're saying, because now everybody...
Because this is a local...
Yeah, there's a conversation about what happened with presidential elections. It's not the same.
It's never been.
It's never been the same. As like you had said, compared to the amount of votes that Labour Party had gotten, they got as much as 80-something% of the votes in the state for the presidential elections. Barely 3 weeks after, APC comes out to win 25 of 27 House of Assembly seats.
And that's a local election, and the governorship election is a local election.
Yeah, exactly. So that already makes a difference. Okay.
Alrighty.
We'll definitely will see how that definitely we'll see how that works. Also, of course, moving on from that quickly, let's move on to
yeah, there's a lot to run through.
Let's move on quickly as just wanted to put it out there. The U.S. President Joe Biden has announced that he is seeking re-election in 2024. We know that he's probably one of the oldest presidents in the world as we speak. Is 80, and would we say that he's okay enough to seek re-election?
Well, I'm not sure that the Americans have ever really played up the matter of age in their elections.
Yeah.
They've never been like, this
it's not
saying
that one seems to be a Nigerian thing.
Yeah, it's always been more about ideology and your party leanings or your performance, in the past or in recent past. So the race is on now, and he has officially, and this is the perfect time for him to indicate that he's running, because again,
already.
Within the party, if there's anybody else that wants to contest, they know that the incumbent is also contesting, so there might be a battle for the Democratic ticket.
Also quickly, an update from what we had talked about yesterday, the Kenya Starvation calls that had been going on, and how Kenya has announced, the government has announced that they found the death toll has risen to 83.
Yeah.
As more bodies are being found, I think that it's getting ridiculous by the day.
The local morgue is already complaining about the lack of space. They said they only have space to hold about 40, and now they are way past their space. But even the journalists on ground are talking about how in that Shaka Zolo forest, I hope I got the name right, more bodies will be found. That they are very sure.
My point is, you had made a statement yesterday where it's one thing to tell people to starve themselves. How is it okay for you? So was it that he didn't want people to know what he was doing, that's why they kept on burying them? or what exactly. Anyway,
It's a question that is going to answer.
It's a very, very sick thing. There's no how
Yeah.
I think anybody can put it out there quickly. Also, India is now set to pass China this week as the world's most populous nation.
India, I mean, I calm down. You people are really doing a lot of.
I don't think they're doing a lot. I think
raising
China
numbers.
is doing a lot on trying to reduce
But
its
but they're
population.
reversing some of those policies too. Remember?
Yeah.
So, but again, those things don't have immediate effects.
effects, yeah.
But it's obvious that
So,
India is doing a lot.
Yeah.
India is doing a lot. So, at the end of this week, India will be the most populous nation in the world.
Also, quickly moving on, just running through sports. According to SR, his friend, he's set to buy a French club.
Oh, Ali.
Oh God. Aliko Dangote is set to buy
Please, Chief.
A
Put
Ligue
Chief. For someone like you, is Chief.
a Ligue club, Valenciennes. There's not been too much of what exactly the modalities of it, but we know it's not the first time he's been trying to buy a club. So
Sha, don't do it like Elon Musk is doing Twitter, Sha.
happy at this
You know?
point.
Because again, if it's just a toy or a plaything for you, but I know Aliko.
He's
na
a
my guy.
businessman.
He's a businessman.
He's a businessman.
And you might just find that club back in Ligue 1.
Exactly. Also, quickly, Bayern Munich is set to offer Napoli, Sadio Mane, and money for Nigeria's Victor Osimhen.
Yeah.
Question is, does Victor Osimhen even want to go to Bayern?
Well, the rumors are going rife. Talking about if Osimhen is going to go to Bayern or not will be left to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
But you know his body language and some of the things that the man.
I
wants to go
remember
to
there was an
England.
interview that I
He would
saw
like to go
that
to
he
England.
actually wants to go play the Premier League, and we know that there are a few clubs that have been. There's Manchester United, there's Arsenal,
There's Chelsea.
There's Chelsea that has actually been linked to him. So we'll see how that goes quickly. Also, Nigerian superstar Davido is headlining the Forbes 30 on the 30 summit. I think that Davido is having a fantastic couple of weeks. Started with his album about 2 weeks ago. Then he's Timeless. It's obvious he's now broke the jinx of the TBS. We hope to see more concerts at the TBS. Now he's doing this just a few days after. I think it is fantastic.
Yeah, and there's a video, of a whole president of a nation being so
excited
to see
Botswana president, excited to see him. And finally, before we go, remember Big Brother Nige's miracle, yeah? There's news that said that he scored he scored 100% as he passes his flight instructor examination. I think that guy always knew what he wanted.
A big shout out to him. He has defied all the logic that surrounds the Big Brother.
Yes.
Franchise.
I think he's a huge.
You can be there and not be into entertainment.
To be honest, I think that Big Brother needs him a lot now to be the ambassador. Mm-hmm. That's what I think personally. Anyway, on that note, that is all we're able to take today on the Boom Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. We'll be back again at tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of the Bar. Please do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead. Peace.